Hello everyone, I'm Raven from Raven Comics, and in today's video we are starting a Batman and Superman saga better known as Enemies Among Us, where everyone is out to take down Batman. We begin with Alfred. Asterisk, I can always tell when Master Bruce has gone out to socialize. Every time he does, he comes back a little annoyed, and the reason is no mystery. Among the high society crowd, there are no shadows. There's nowhere to hide among them. He's always Bruce Wayne. Even this humble butler has found ways to put it into words, to use a carriage in a way. Somehow we hide our true feelings behind the formalities of decorum. In essence, we create a disguise. But while some masks are merely metaphors, others are not, at least not in public. He appears to be Bruce Wayne, but the truth is, Batman is never too far away asterisk. Now we move to an event with Bruce Wayne. Lucius arrives with him and asks him to relax a bit. They are supposed to be at a charity event, but Bruce looks like he's ready for a fight. Bruce tells him he was just thinking and then asks if he can see the man across the room, the man in the blue suit. Lucius tells him, of course, he can see him, and he doesn't need a new pair of glasses. What Bruce really needs is to go out more often and socialize with people. He should try to be more friendly. This only seems to annoy Bruce even further. He apologizes but says he has to leave because something in this place doesn't feel right. Later, in the Batcave, Batman has just broken a punching bag. To Alfred, it's obvious that Master Bruce's sudden departure from the charity event must have caused a stir. He simply cannot turn off that side of himself, the Dark Knight within. He even wears his uniform inside the cave. He says he needs to feel the weight of the cape and armor while training, but deep down, Alfred believes he finds a certain comfort in the mask. Alfred approaches Batman and tells him that their sporting equipment supplier will be extremely happy with their next order. If he keeps this up, the knife wound he suffered last week will reopen. Batman tells him that it doesn't matter because he'll patch it up himself like he's done a million times before. He only hopes Alfred didn't interrupt his training just to give him medical advice. Alfred says he wasn't, although he should mention they're out of anesthesia, which will make his next medical session particularly interesting. But the real reason he's here is to announce a visitor, none other than Mr. John Johns. Batman asks the Martian Manhunter what's going on. John Johns tells him that a grave injustice has been committed, an insult to the forces of this world and the next. Batman replies that if this is about other worlds, he should talk to Clark first. This frustrates Martian Manhunter, who sees it in his eyes, the arrogance, the fear. He isn't surprised that Batman can't understand any of this, because Batman is an insult that shouldn't be among the heroes. As they talk, John uses a moment of distraction to attack Batman with the very same punching bag he had just destroyed. Alfred knows that normally, after getting hit in the face, any ordinary person in a bar would collapse in agony. But Master Bruce has learned to endure pain. Still, there's something he needs to realize, because even Batman is human. Martian Manhunter now attacks Alfred before lunging back at Batman. Batman demands to know what the hell he's doing. John tells him he's about to die. The Martian grabs Batman by the throat and continues his assault. Batman may be able to fight off another human, but it's clear that Martian Manhunter is not human. Alfred has seen him in this situation many times before, suffering, facing an enemy who is clearly superior, with nothing but his intellect and the will to survive. Batman tries to get back up. He still doesn't understand what is happening. Well, in the end, it doesn't really matter. What matters is stopping Martian Manhunter right now. And while he wasn't prepared for this attack, he improvises, setting off a small explosion to create fire, knowing it's a weakness of the Martian. Batman recovers and is ready to continue fighting, but the Martian is gone. Getting back on his feet is something most men wouldn't be able to do. He was prepared for anything except this. The next day, inside the cave of the Justice League's original base, we see Superman arriving to meet Batman. The Man of Steel tells him he should turn on some lights. He's going to ruin his eyesight. Batman responds that Superman was born a Boy Scout, and he'll die a Boy Scout. If he hasn't noticed yet, he prefers the dark. Superman looks at Batman and notices 2 fractured ribs along with his nose. That explains his bad mood. Batman tells him to stop scanning him with X-ray vision. He's already been examined, and he's fine. Superman knows that Batman's definition of fine means 2 weeks of bed rest for a normal person. He admits he was surprised to receive Batman's message. He almost never asks for help. Batman explains that the reason he asked this time is that he actually needs help. They're dealing with an extraterrestrial threat. He could say that John tried to attack him, but that would be putting it mildly. John wanted blood. The fireball trick was just pure luck. He wasn't prepared. Superman tells him that he's always been good at improvising. Batman tells him that at the gala last night, he had the feeling that someone was watching him. He ran facial recognition on all the guests, and 2 of them weren't on the guest list. In fact, he can confidently say that they don't even exist. To Superman, these faces are interesting. The program generates a profile based on weight, height, and facial features. The man and woman in these surveillance photos match perfectly with the statistics, which should be impossible. Hiding in plain sight, blending in, taking a new form when necessary. Shape-shifting is John's specialty. Superman would say everything is resolved, but it's been a long time since John reacted to fire that way. Suddenly, alarms start blaring. This is an attack alert. Red Alert 5 means that military assistance has also been requested. Batman realizes that all of this is coming from Gotham City. He has to go back. As they are about to leave the cave, Batman says he arrived at this place in his private jet, which is fast. But Superman is much faster. Hiro Okamura built this friction capsule last year. It has its own oxygen supply, is fully pressurized, and has heat shields designed to withstand atmospheric re-entry temperatures. Superman tells him that if he needs a push, he just has to ask. To Batman, this is crazy. Gotham City is under attack, and eyewitness reports make no sense. Superman says there is something big hiding within that smoke cloud. He will do a quick reconnaissance sweep and then drop him off. Well, that won't be possible because Superman has just been attacked by Titano. Worse still, Superman had to let go of the capsule. The Bat assumes it's time to improvise. The capsule wasn't designed to withstand crash landings, so he has to get out now. Once Batman gets out, he knows that was the easy part. Superman continues fighting. Titano tells him not to go after Batman. He should let him die. Superman refuses and attacks. No one is going to die. After dealing with Titano, the Man of Steel goes after the Bat. Batman tells him everything worked out fine. He's up here. He decided it was better to start without Superman. The Man of Steel analyzes the situation. If this is John's, then he has developed incredible adaptive abilities. This creature possesses Titano's mass, strength, and even kryptonite vision. Batman knows it's been years since he last fought him. This doesn't make sense. Titano is no longer in the area, which means John's changed shape again. Just like in the Batcave, he could be part of a wall, a parked car, or he could be right there. Superman tells Batman to get those people to safety while he scares off those outside. Superman enters the aquarium, where there are people inside. He tells them to leave and run. They must stay calm. They will handle everything. Suddenly, Parasite appears in front of Superman. Clark says this is impossible. Parasite is dead. How can he be here? Parasite is about to attack. He protects Batman, which is why he must die. After being struck by Parasite, Batman enters the scene. To Superman, this is incredible. It is adapting at a molecular level. Not only did it take Parasite's form, but it also shared his powers. To Batman, this can't be happening. For some reason, this thing they are facing keeps taking forms from the past. It is transforming into creatures and adversaries they haven't faced in years. As if that weren't enough, Dr. Phosphorus also appears. Batman tells it, whoever it is, that it has to say what it wants. Dr. Phosphorus says he only wants to be acknowledged. For too long, he was ignored and abused. Since they are facing a fire-based opponent, Superman has an idea. For this, Superman asks Batman to hold his breath for a few moments. It's time to put his plan into action. He's going to flood the area. Batman thanks him for the warning. The problem is that where Dr. Phosphorus was, he seems to have disappeared. He must have changed shape when the water hit him. That means he could be anything, anywhere, or anyone. They have to assume this isn't over yet. Not even close. They will have to assume this is just the beginning. Meanwhile, we return to Alfred. Earlier, he wrote a few lines about disguises and masks, the preferred method for humans to hide their true nature. Humans is the key word. Not long after his arrival on Earth, the Martian Manhunter took our form. He even changed his name, calling himself John Johns. As time passed, he discarded his secret identity. Eventually, he even abandoned the smallest features he had adopted to minimize people's reactions to his unique appearance. Perhaps the Martian Manhunter became so accustomed to his place on Earth that he lost the fear of people finding his appearance unsettling. Or maybe unsettling people was exactly the reaction he was hoping for. And we have to acknowledge that the opposite is true for Master Bruce. Now with Batman, he was preparing for a possible attack from the Martian Manhunter. So he was waiting for him with a flamethrower, ready to burn him. The problem is that, this time, the Martian Manhunter does not run. I admire his courage. His crime-fighting abilities are unparalleled. But there are moments when I question his tactics. He prefers to draw a line in the sand with no support, somewhere remote, against a clearly superior enemy. He wouldn't like to hear it, but frankly, the first time he got lucky. Continuing with the fight between the detective and the Bat, the latter tells him he had to make sure it was really him. The reason? Because this detective seems to be the original. A few days ago, he was attacked by someone with the ability to change shape. It was the same entity that destroyed part of Gotham City. It took the detective's form to attack him from behind in the cave. The Martian Manhunter realizes it took a humanoid form he had long abandoned and displayed an extreme weakness to fire. This is interesting. Batman tells him he almost took his head off. He hoped for a better response. John Johns isn't sure. As the two continue talking, Batman realizes that he knows something. Therefore, he asks him to speak up already. John Jones tells him that's exactly what he should have done before attacking him without any provocation. Shoot first and ask questions later. It's supposed to be a comment, not a creed. And even if the Martian had any suspicions, does he honestly believe he would share them with a human like him? Meanwhile, over at Star Labs in San Francisco, Green Lantern John Stewart is examining something with his ring. He still gets chills when looking at this thing up close. He knows there are different kinds of greens, but this is too much. Charles hopes that his emergency is important enough to have canceled a night trip to Las Vegas. John Stewart hopes this isn't a real emergency, but he had no one else to turn to. Charles is running a comparative protocol based on a refractive analysis they had in their records, but he wonders why John didn't ask his friend in OA for help. Don't they have records on these kind of stones? John doesn't go to the big shots based on a mere hunch, but when he's carrying enough power to split the earth in half, he thinks it's better to be safe than sorry. What he's about to explain is difficult to put into words. For the past few days, he's been feeling something strange in his ring. The ring doesn't come with a manual, but it wouldn't be the first time it's been corrupted. Parallax showed them they can't afford to be overconfident, and that sometimes intuition is the only thing they can trust. Charles tells him he seems to know a lot about power rings. It's subtle, but he perceives a distinct difference in the refraction patterns and the color of the central gem. And he also sees something else. Suddenly, the ring goes out of control. It seems John's hunch was right because something is happening to the ring. Charles needs to run as far as possible, as fast as he can, or it will be too late. And well, it seems it already is. A construct in the shape of a hand has just been created, attacking the laboratory. Back with Alfred, John Johns' departure has left Master Bruce in a very bad mood. Some wonder how he continues fighting without the emotional support of a partner, but the truth is that Batman doesn't need the peace and comfort that some find at home, while many of his peers would be lost without it. Master Wayne says that most people believe Superman's greatest weakness is kryptonite, but that is only true from a physical standpoint. Tragically, his real weakness is the same emotion that fuels his heroism, his desire to be accepted as one of us. While Batman is in the Batcave and Alfred tells him that Mr. Jordan has a message for him, Clark is at the Daily Planet in Metropolis. He's calmly working when Lois arrives and interrupts him. The problem is that Lois is acting very strangely. Clark doesn't understand it, and then suddenly another Lois appears. That Lois tells him it looks like she's found her chameleon. She's not sure where he learned this unfortunate interpretation of her, but if it bears any resemblance, he should remember not to mock the guy who used to cut her hair. Before they can continue, the one pretending to be Lois undergoes a transformation. First, it was Lois, and now it's Krypton's caveman. Was it flipping through a family album? Superman doesn't know, but he needs it to start coming up with one of Clark's classic excuses. Superman starts fighting. He's had enough of this. just so it knows he enjoys being a reporter. So why doesn't it calm down and explain who, what, and where? Suddenly, the battle is interrupted by Hal Jordan. Jordan apologizes for the sudden intervention. It looked like he needed a hand. Superman would have appreciated a warning first. But at least everything is under control now. Hal tells him that's why he's here. Batman explained his problem with villains from the past. There's a place in the west part of the city where they can lock up his Yeti. Superman had heard the government was working on a containment facility for aliens. He's not sure if the answer is to lock it away forever, but they definitely need a containment center. Green Lantern is going to escort it to the prison. Superman hopes he doesn't mind being its guardian for a couple of hours. He needs to help with the reconstruction. Hal tells him not to worry. When he's done, he should head over to Oregon to visit them. Once they arrive at the base, Superman is surprised to see Batman is already there. The problem is that Batman is angry and asks Superman if he knows what punctuality is. Jordan told him the Man of Steel wanted to meet in this abandoned site at 4 o'clock sharp. Superman tells him that doesn't make any sense. They both know he feels more comfortable in the dark. And besides, he didn't organize any meeting. Hal Jordan found him in Metropolis and lent him a hand with his chameleon. Batman asks if, after everything that's happened, that didn't seem strange to him. Something starts happening. Batman realizes Hal Jordan has set them up. Then we see a great green attack, with Superman suffering the consequences. Clark asks Batman what he is doing. The Bat replies that he is covering his back, while the Man of Steel gets distracted with Green Lantern. The Dark Knight will go look for other places in search of Hal Jordan. While searching this prison, he realizes there are no guards, no prisoners, just him. Someone who faced Green Lantern a couple of years ago. Batman is right, this is the creature that couldn't die, unlike Batman. Returning to the fight with Superman, he wonders if the power rings always hit with such force. Jordan says that it only takes a little imagination. But can Superman feel it? Why is he trying to fight it? Superman asks, feel what? What's happening to Jordan? He protects them and needs to know he's not alone. There are others, and if he doesn't join them, he'll pay a high price. Back to the battle between Batman and the creature, Batman tells him he's putting on a good show, but deep inside, they know he's a weakling. The creature says these inferior species are about to be exterminated, starting with Batman. It seems the Bat won't allow it because he uses one of his gadgets to electrocute him. The fight takes them to where Superman and Hal Jordan are. The Man of Steel apologizes, as he thought he was in danger. Batman tells him that it's over for today. But did he discover what happened with the lantern? It seems that Hal Jordan has calmed down and knows what's going on. Batman tells him he has 5 seconds to explain. Hal Jordan says it wasn't him, it was his ring. Superman checked the perimeter, 80 kilometers in all directions. Someone must have been waiting because the prisoners left long ago. The creature used the lantern to free them, to trap him. That would be a bonus. Hal Jordan knows that whatever is involved has incredible power and the ability to corrupt a power ring, as well as the mind of the one controlling it. Superman says that while Hal was under control, he asked him to join them. Unfortunately, Hal doesn't remember much, but there's one thing. When he was attacking, he was using all his strength. If you didn't join them, he had to kill you. Once again, they are interrupted by another green beam. This time, it's Kilowog who says that first it was John Stewart and now Hal Jordan. Apparently, he always has to do the dirty work for humans. But this will be the last time, because if they challenge the ring, they're challenging him.